welcome back. Mindful Serenity Yoga or Waking Up in a Busy World. I am going to continue again with another question. I'm going to reach into my handy dandy little jar here. I went from the envelope to the jar. And I have a mixture of questions that have come from all different people and all different resources, both on the net and in person. And I am going to pull out a question, a life-changing question, to see if I can answer it within a 10-minute time frame. First of all, I have to be able to see it. Whoa! What happens to you after you die? Wow, what happens to you after you die? And take a deep breath. And I'm going to exhale. All pretense is that I have an idea what I'm talking about, because I don't. What happens after you die? Wow, that is a deep question, is it not? And I'm going to have to tell you right off that I don't know. I don't know what happens to us after I die. I can tell you what I believe and what I've been taught and what I've been conditioned to believe and what I've read, and because I've done a wide range of research into spiritual matters over the last 20 years of my life. I've read a lot of scriptures and a lot of different dogma. But to ask me what will happen to us after we die is to ask me a question that I really can't answer honestly, because I do not know. I do not know. And I won't know until my body expires and I leave it to tell you what will happen after we die. So that's the way I'm going to start that question. And the answer of that question is by telling you that I do not know. In fact, I think very few people actually know. Those that have died and have come back in near-death experiences, they can tell you all different things. And I would like you to check into those NDEs. And there's several different organizations that specialize, scientifically based organizations that specialize in the understanding of NDEs and can help to maybe answer some of your questions in a more scientific way. Because I'm not sure if you're looking for a scientific answer or if you're looking for a esoterical one or a metaphysical one. And I do know, as a nurse who spent a lot of time working with palliative patients as they passed on, I've been with several different individuals as they've passed on and left this world, that something miraculous does happen. I can only tell you that because I feel it. I can't validate it scientifically for you, but I can tell you that through my experience, I've always felt something very special happening at those transitional points in a person's life where they leave their bodies. I've been with loved ones and patients, held in their hands. Have held a lot of hands of dying patients. Held the hands of my loved ones as they passed on. And I can tell you that my experience, my personal, emotional, if you want to call it emotional or feeling experience, is that something very special does happen when a person dies. There is a transition. I don't see it as the end, personally, so I see it as a transition from one state of being to the next, one type of existence to another type of existence. So, at the same time, I can't validate that scientifically. I can only tell you that I feel it's been a very personal and very honored position to be in when to be there with someone who passes on. I've always felt that. I felt like this was, wow, such a major point in our person's life, and to be there witnessing that transition is an amazing thing. It's an honor. So as a palliative nurse, I always felt it was an honor to be with clients when they were passing. It was an honor to be with my loved ones when they were passing. And I recommend, it sounds maybe morbid, but I recommend that experience for most people, to be there when someone passes. I know that when someone dies, depending on where they are consciously at the time of death, their experience prior to dying may differ. I've been with individuals who have been, experiencing lifetimes full of resentment and anger and holding on to grudges because their lives have been difficult. And their dying was probably a little bit more traumatic than it was for individuals who have made peace with their lives, who have, followed the 12 steps of the 12-step program, even though they may not have been addicts, just, made their amends, spoke their truth, recognized a higher power, and were able to let go in a more peaceful way. So those moments prior to death have differed from one patient to the next, one person that I love to the next. But the moment of the actual last breath, or when the breath is exhaled for the last time and the heart stops beating, you can no longer hear it with a stethoscope, there is a quiet and a stillness and a peace that I really can't explain that animates around the vessel of the human being, and that somehow is transferred into me, and not in any supernatural way, but into a way where I actually feel that they've gone on to a better place. So my belief is that we go on. My belief, which is just a mental concept, schemata, that has changed over the course of my lifetime. I don't have the belief I grew up with, is that you either go to heaven or you go to hell, and depending on the life you lived, and you're going to be judged, and I don't have that belief anymore. I personally have a belief that our bodies expire, but the life that was in us was we're just expressions of life in these forms, and so when the form diminishes, we go back to wherever the source was, and then we may even be reincarnated again. So, yeah, I believe in reincarnation. My catechism teachers are going to be very disappointed in me if they're still alive. But I do believe that life is just a continual process. And when I look at nature, and I guess I compare what happens with the human form with what happens to all forms in nature, you just see the regeneration in the spring. And through our winters will come, and we will shed what's left of a human form, and what was inside that form is just a manifestation, expression of life, so it will come back in another form. I just see that as can't be any other way in my mind, but that's a belief I have, right? So I'm not asking anybody to buy into that. Our mental constructs are not going to explain anything other than more mental constructs. So to truly experience what happens after our die, of course we have to die. And I'm not asking anybody to go try that experiment out and find hope for themselves. We just have to be patient and wait and trust that life knows what it's doing. So when time comes, the time comes, and we'll find the answer then. So I know that really did not answer anybody's questions, and you can check with other spiritual teachers. I'm not a spiritual teacher, but check with spiritual teachers and scripture and whatnot, and find out for yourself what feels right. I personally believe in reincarnation, but that doesn't mean that anybody else has to. And yeah, maybe check into the NDEs and check into those types of things to determine what other people had to say about those that have passed on and come back. I don't know. You have to find out for yourself when the time comes, I guess. So that wasn't a very helpful answer, I know. But anyway, that's all I have to give you. And again, my imperfect answers come from an imperfect mind and an imperfect person, and I am not going to edit this in any other way. Anyway, this is what you get, and unfortunately, I was not maybe able to help you, but maybe somebody else can. Thank you so much. Namaste.